Hi folks, Florida Man here. We're one of the biggest, and probably the best, of the diplomacy YouTube channels. I'm also currently publishing a lit RPG fantasy novel on Royal Road, linked in the description below, called Ruthless, Path of Conquest. Today I'm discussing the final round, the top board of the Liberty Cup 2023. Now, I call it the top board only because it sounds cool. The truth is there were only 7 or 8 players in this whole tournament, and so everyone was on the top board, because a lot of people signed up for the Liberty Cup and did not appear at all, which was unfortunate, but it's a small event. I was assigned to play as England in this game, which I would say is probably my least favorite power to play at this point. Italy used to be, but it's always been between those two. And England actually does tend to get me the worst results. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about my personality that tells people, hey, when he's playing England, go after him. But there has to be something. Spring 1901. I'm talking to my neighbors, one of whom is a very shrewd and dangerous German player who I'm immediately trying to get France on board with me to fight against, because I think of the French player here as not being one of the tougher players in this tournament, frankly. And I'm getting nowhere, really. At the same time, I'm trying to get an assurance from Russia that he will not open north, and Russia refuses to give me that assurance. I'm just trying to point out to him that I'm going to counterbalance this game for him against Germany, who is a big threat to win this whole tournament. And Germany is also a natural enemy of Russia. A strong Germany is pretty consistently bad for Russia. And Russia is hearing none of it, or something, or doesn't care, or doesn't agree, doesn't believe me, for whatever reason. I'm like, okay, this game is not going to end well. In the south, we see that the first season begins with what appears to be a setup for a Lepanto from Italy, Austria opening south, clearly not worried about Russia moving into Galicia, Turkey and Russia doing the standard Black Sea bounce, and Russia, to me this is a very anti-English opening whenever Russia opens north, and so I'm immediately worried. Fortunately, I made the English opening that can guarantee I get Norway, so at least I have that going for me. But the other Western moves are kind of ambiguous. They're always kind of ambiguous. They're not particularly encouraging. They're not particularly discouraging. France clearly planning to get one of the Iberian centers and guarantee Belgium. Germany clearly planning on having a say over Sweden and also probably getting Holland. Nothing unusual there. Going to fall, we see that I convoy into Norway because, my attitude toward Russia right now is screw Russia, and let's see how well I can do with that. But Russia is allowed into Sweden by Germany, despite me trying very hard to persuade Germany that Russia should be our target, that we should work together against Russia and also against France, and I'll be a great ally till the end game, and help him expand, and France is way more of a positional threat to Germany than England is. I try very hard on both Germany and France. I'm just trying to peel somebody away, and nothing doing. Which I kind of understand, especially from France, because to him, it just looks like he's going to be left in a great position, and I guess Germany probably figured that France is an easy-to-manage player, and therefore he's going to end up dominating this game if he has a strong ally in France. Russia, I have no idea why Russia wants to go after me so early. It's literally just one possible extra dot. It's a really, really bad decision, and it will hasten the resolution of the Western Triangle. I cannot overstate how bad of a decision this is by Russia. In this particular context, when you know that probably the strongest player, as Russia acknowledged to me, probably the strongest player is the German one. It's kind of mind-boggling. Anyway, in the south, Russia is taking Romania with a fleet, so clearly preparing for a fight with Turkey, unless there's some kind of theater going on here, Turkey moving into Armenia and Black Sea, clearly preparing to try and fight Russia as well. And Austria just seemingly very happy. Austria moves Albania to Greece and Serbia to Romania. I'm guessing Austria might have been expecting Turkish support into Romania, which, given the other Turkish moves, would have been the wisest thing to do. I'm not sure why Turkey would fail to enter that support, because it could have kept Russia from getting that extra build. Italy convoying into Tunis, as Italy does. Going to the build phase, both France and Germany get fleets pointed at me, and for that matter, so does Russia. So it's pretty much game over for me, and I'm spiraling at this point, desperately trying to stay alive, negotiating with anyone I can, and there's no one. No one who can help me. This is the peril of being England in a game where you have no friends. If England has no allies, it's just as bad as being Austria with no allies. It really is. It might be worse. Austria has some defensive possibilities that England really doesn't. England, the best thing you can do is essentially play tag and try to keep people from taking your last dot. Austria has some offensive abilities, and offense is the best defense. Anyway, this build, France getting a fleet in Brest, Army Marseille, Germany getting Fleet Kiel, Army Berlin, Russia getting Fleet St. Pete, Fleet Sevastopol, clearly planning to lean heavily on Austria and trust Austria, who builds armies in Vienna and Budapest, Turkey building Fleet Constantinople, so Turkey clearly trying to create that possibility of defending against Russia while not completely abandoning Mediterranean defense. He still has some options as far as that goes. Italy getting Fleet Naples, which is the most typical Italian build in 1901. Going to 1902, we see that my downfall continues. I lose Norway, and now France openly moves into the English Channel. Germany trying for North Sea, which I stop, and I sneak into Skagerrak. I've decided to focus on Germany at this point because I am blaming him for this. He's the only one who has really messed me up as far as I'm concerned, because I'm certain he's the one who wanted this coalition against England. I don't believe anyone else could be the mastermind of this. It would be very strange if it was France. And just looking at who talks to who and who's doing the most talking, I think it's Germany. Looking to the south, we see Austria suddenly and viciously stabs Russia, with Turkey also participating by tapping Sevastopol with support, and Turkey for some reason also trying to move Bulgaria to Romania. Turkey's failure to enter support orders for Austria here and in the previous year, very strange for someone who seems to be an ally. Austria also seemingly setting up for a stab of Italy. Very bad for Italy. Italy also seems to have thought that he was going to get into Greece, which Austria was not interested in allowing. So Austria does not vacate Greece. Austria, I must say, is trusting Turkey a lot here. I think stabbing Russia, not necessarily a great decision. Going to the fall, we see that I continue failing to retake ground. I do outguess the French player who is trying to decide where to convoy and thought I would probably defend London, and therefore did not convoy into London, convoyed into Wales, which he knew I couldn't stop. Knowing that he would probably make that gamble, I didn't bother defending London, because you look to me for not these pedestrian tactical decisions, but for the big brain strategies, guys. And at least I'm going to make it a little bit annoying to kill me. I'm going to make it a little bit unpredictable which are the right moves to use to kill me off in this game. I am absolutely losing a ton of ground, though. I lost Irish Sea, I lost Wales, I lost the Channel, I lost the North Sea. I am in so much trouble. I lost Norway, of course. My position is just thoroughly wrecked. Looking to the southeast, we see Austria takes Venice from Italy. Italy convoying back onto the Italian boot, clearly hoping to try and defend what he has left of his territory. Turkey moving into Romania with a convoy supported by Russia. with Austria also vacating the Romania center, and Austria trying to support Turkey into Romania. So some very interesting stuff going on here. And I'm just kind of flummoxed. I think the people in the East are making things much more complicated than they need to be. Especially Austria and Russia. But mainly, I would say Austria should not have stabbed Russia in the first place. If he was going to stab Russia, he is not doing a good job of it. And giving up ground to Turkey on purpose is one thing, but if Russia's supporting it, you have to wonder if this is really what you want to be doing. Because clearly, someone is going to get shafted here, and it could very well be you, just as easily as it could be Russia. We see in the build phase, Turkey building army in Constantinople, Austria building army in Vienna, Italy destroying Fleet Naples, which I think made the most sense. Italy needs to throw everything he can into retaking Venice and or defending against further advances, but realistically, retaking Venice is the best he can hope for, and Italy's probably done, honestly, after this. Italy is almost as done as I am, and we'll have to wait and see as to whether Austria is making the right decisions here by working with and empowering Turkey so much. With Turkey having gotten that new army in Constantinople, this could be an attack on Austria waiting to happen. Russia gets an army in Warsaw, naturally. I got an army in Liverpool after having destroyed my unit in North Sea, and I'm just trying to play a defensive game here, just trying to do what I can to make whatever defenses are possible. There's really not much that is possible. France got a fleet in Brest, which not at all necessary to defeat me, but might have pleased Germany, who might want to see a more naval France. And, like I said, I think Germany really is the mastermind of things at this point. Going to spring 1903, we see that I continue to lose territory. I'm losing Liverpool. I am going for Edinburgh because maybe it's possible that I could defend that if I get into just the right position. But no, Russia bounces me in Norwegian Sea. And I also see a German convoy into Yorkshire. Germany wants to make absolutely certain that he will get Edinburgh in the fall. Or London, but Edinburgh is the one that actually is contended by me. So clearly that's what he's going for, and I can't stop him. Going to the south, we see that Italy is unsuccessfully attempting to retake Venice. For some reason, Germany supporting Venice in place. I don't really get the point, honestly. I think Germany needs to be worried about Austria and creating maybe some chaos in the east, and that's not really done by helping Austria retain Venice, unless he thinks that Turkey is about to stab Austria, which entirely possible, and we see that Turkey actually is stabbing Austria. He takes Greece, and I mean, I wish I could say I feel sorry for Austria here, but I think stabbing Russia in the first place was just a huge mistake, totally unwarranted, and really Austria brings this upon himself. Turkey, of course, very opportunistic, taking every chance possible to grow. I can't help but respect the hustle from Turkey here, because Turkey has gotten both Russia and Austria helping him now, and Russia is just thoroughly pouring himself into the fight with Austria. Russia's probably never going to get Romania back. I wouldn't give it back if I was Turkey, unless Russia had some pressing arguments. Pressing as in a bunch of armies arguments. And I don't think that's going to happen, because the top concern for Russia has to remain defeating Austria. Going to the fall, we see that Russia walks right into Budapest. Austria is really not defending at this point, and I confess I do not really understand why. Austria kind of giving everything up now, walks out of Venice, loses Venice, walks out of, or supports Italy into Greece, loses Greece, doesn't defend Serbia, loses Serbia, doesn't defend Vienna, walks out of Vienna, loses Vienna, and of course doesn't do anything about the wide open center of Budapest. And Russia just made an unsupported move in. Turkey didn't even support Russia in. Turkey, by the way, it's sometimes like he doesn't even know how to enter support orders for other players. It's remarkable. He only enters support orders for himself, and yet he keeps on getting help. So this is a very good season, a very good year for Turkey. Turkey is running that whole map now. Russia gained Budapest, which is fine for Russia, I guess. Russia really needs Italy and Russia to form a coalition against Turkey and contain that yellow menace at this point. If they don't, Turkey is going to run over this whole map. Looking to the west, tragically, I am killed, as expected, right on time. And now that I'm dead, nothing important could possibly happen, so let's see how the rest of this game goes. Germany building armies, France building fleets only, Russia builds an army in Warsaw. Probably Russia is going to be in a great deal of trouble right now because the Eastern Triangle not fully settled, while the West is fully settled, thanks to Russian interference on the other side's behalf. I did warn him about this possible result. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't lose some home centers as a result of Germany getting so swole. Italy building fleets in Rome and Naples, making for a pretty decent defense against France, assuming that he uses those fleets properly. However, Turkey getting a fleet in Smyrna, which means that Italy is going to need to defend on more than one front, which means Italy is probably in serious trouble. Going to next year, we see that Italy is working with Turkey, taking support into Albania. Turkey self-bounces in East Med, refrains from actually going aggressively after Italy, allowing Italy to position to defend against the French, which I think is actually a brilliant strategic move by Turkey, because he doesn't need Italian dots right now. He needs Italian defense. And there's plenty of other dots to go around once he's willing to attack Russia, which you can tell is going to be right around the corner because the Russian players fatally undermined his own position by making bad strategic decisions. Looking to other parts of the map, we see that France is doing a bunch of moves toward Italy, which is good, but also kind of making some strange movements all around England. I'm not sure what that's all about. He really needs to make sure Germany gets that army off of the English Isle, because if France is considering convoying away, he shouldn't let Germany have armies on that island. And they also need to decide what they're going to do with Russia. Russia, who is now trying to go after Germany, a little late, but I'm glad he's being proactive now. Going to the fall, we see that the attacks continue from Russia to Germany and Germany to Russia, with Russia being kind of the leader in that, in the sense that he's not losing any dots to Germany and he's pushing Germany back a bit, but this is also when Russia loses a dot to Turkey. And at the same time, Russia supported himself, moving Vienna to Bohemia, and he does make Germany retreat, but that means he vacated Bohemia, or vacated Vienna, and therefore Germany kept that dot. So Russia in worse shape than he was before he successfully walked out of Vienna and before he successfully defended Warsaw. He's in a bad place versus Germany. At the same time, we see France move into the Ruhr, so perhaps France is getting ready to stab Germany. That would be a sensible call here. The German player is the more experienced, wily player of the two of them, and France really needs to find a chance to stab him very soon, if possible. At the same time, though, we see that France is moving into the North Sea with German support. So, possible that rather than the Ruhr move being a stab of Germany, it's actually Germany trusting France to participate in the German defense, because he feels he has that good of a handle on the French player. And Russia is a strong enough power that Germany might need some help to defend himself. In the south, we see that France is withdrawing from the front with Italy, and Italy is able to, cover those centers that he was in danger of losing. At the same time, Italy takes Trieste but gives up Venice to Austria, which is just kind of a strange, baffling exchange. One has to wonder what kind of conversations were happening. I'm guessing that Italy didn't trust that Germany and France weren't going to support themselves into Venice, but now this leaves Austria alive in Italian territory, which isn't really good for either Austria or Italy. Russia destroying the fleet in Sevastopol, basically rolling over and playing dead for Turkey. Turkey builds army Constantinople, basically signifying that he intends to be primarily a land power for the foreseeable future, which is a bold decision, considering that he seems to be working closely with both Russia and Italy It's probably the right decision, because Russia much less defensible than Italy, and if Turkey plays his diplomatic cards right, he can get Italy going after France, or possibly Germany, rather than going after the massive Turkish Empire growing on his doorstep. Going to spring 1905, we see that Italy does indeed go after France, Turkey playing this game really well here, getting Russia into Vienna, so weakening the German player he's the points leader in this tournament, I should mention. So he has got a bit of a target on his back. Part of why I tried to argue that France should work with me against him was that Germany is the points leader up until this point. Clearly Germany not dominating this particular map, though. France supporting himself into Holland, so Germany potentially losing that dot. Germany moving Munich back to Burgundy, and Tyrolia to Munich. So seemingly withdrawing from the front with Russia, even as he loses more ground, Vienna, to Russia here. This is a risky decision that could very easily backfire. At the same time, Russia looks like he's probably going to get stabbed by Turkey, so any glory from taking Vienna and Denmark from the Germans may be short-lived. Go to the fall, we see that France is seriously attacking Germany, and Germany is seriously trying to attack France. Germany takes Paris. France tries to take Kiel. France also goes after Edinburgh with Russian support. Russia continues to hold on to Denmark, and Germany's position is not great. It's actually surprising how badly things are going right now. But I guess he was not that much stronger than France than I thought. Even though he is probably the strongest player of the people in the tournament, he is not playing one of the stronger powers on this board at all. Italy continuing to go after France, but not making any forward progress this season. Italy does, however, retake Venice from Austria, who willingly vacates to Tuscany. I guess he didn't want to play anymore. Turkey invading Russia from the south, as was predictable from the spring moves, clearly about to devour Russia. I would not want to be Russia in this situation. Build phase, Russia does get a new army in Moscow. It's going to be completely futile. Germany has to destroy 2 units, chooses armies in Ruhr and Munich, which is quite a bold decision. Let's see how it pays off for him. Turkey getting a new army in Constantinople, doubling down on the friendship between himself and Italy. Italy building fleet in Naples, doubling down on the naval warfare that's been going so well for him so far. And this is where the game ends. Turkey is tied for board top with France. France, who I had kind of underestimated all throughout this, manages to tie for the board top with Turkey. Frankly, I think Turkey should have continued and could have gotten a better result than this, but Turkey actually wins the tournament here, and so he has no real incentive to keep going, even though he could have taken over Moscow and Greece and probably Trieste and or Vienna. He could have grabbed those dots. He would have eventually grabbed those dots. He doesn't need them. He wins. He wins the tournament. He doesn't win the game. It's a draw. But we've seen how tournament play affects the calculus in these games, and it's remarkable, I think, to see how the dynamics were different because of how thoughtfully the Turkish player in particular went into and exited this game, and how well the French player was able to play this, knowing that the German player would be a target. I think there were some serious mistakes made by the Austrian and the Russian players that helped their neighbors to do as well as they did, mainly that helped Turkey to do as well as he did, and ultimately that also helped Italy to survive, albeit that he didn't have such a strong finish. But gotta give a lot of credit to the French and the Turkish players, especially the Turkish player, for brilliant strategy in this final round of the Liberty Cup. I hope you've enjoyed this diplomacy commentary. If you did, I think you should consider liking and commenting and telling me about things other people should have done differently. I refuse to believe that there's a scenario where I charm everyone and walk out of this with the board top or something and win the tournament. I don't know how that could even have happened for me. The diplomacy was just... it was like trying to dig through icy ground with a wooden shovel. Anyway, at this point, I would like to thank and credit my great Patreon patrons. You all are wonderful. You help me to continue this channel and making these videos. with high spirits and an awareness that there are those who are super supporters of what I'm doing. I'd also like to take a moment to shout out something else that I'm doing creatively. As I've covered previously, my new story, Ruthless, Path of Conquest, is live, and Volume 1 almost completely available for reading on the website Royal Road. I was also uploading audio of the chapters to YouTube, but that's not happening anymore, for my own reasons. Following the link to Royal Road in the video description, reading some of Ruthless, Path of Conquest, and giving me 5 stars is almost as valuable at this moment in time as literally handing me money. Although, the story also has a Patreon of its own, in case you wanted to literally hand me money for it. If this story takes off well enough, my goal is to make my living by creating stuff. If it wasn't obvious, this would also be very good in terms of its effect on my likelihood of taking on new and interesting creative projects, some of which may be of interest to you. Till next time, Florida Man, out.